Welcome to our 2-year anniversary, the 104th weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about the hobby. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Dana.
And how did 2 years feel?
It felt like I completely forgot the anniversary from last week's discussion about the anniversary. So thank God I was more successful remembering my wedding anniversary.
Remembering or putting it in your phone?
Putting it in my phone. But no, I feel like I keep saying the same thing, but it's really kind of wild how the growth on a weekly basis, the people that give their ears to our voices on a weekly basis, it'll never get old, I don't think. I can't imagine why it ever would. And yeah, awesome. Thank you. 2 years would have been nothing without everyone listening. And let's try to go 70 more.
If that's such a thing.
Yeah.
So you had a bunch of stuff this week. I didn't do anything this week. I'm really not doing anything hobby-wise until August, I guess. Even though we probably should pick a day pretty soon to go into the city. We need to discuss that actually, for a couple of things. Although honestly, some of the things you keep shooting over my way, I'm like, oh God, I have no interest in those. I think that's going to be hard for me. I'm not sure if there's anything.
You have to understand, which I think you do. Your collecting style is kind of weird. You would want to see like the road manager of Wheatus and the kid in the halls, whatever, like the stuff you like I'm sending you big names and you're like, meh. Like,
I mean, these names are not big. They're from shows that no one watches except you, some of these things. The
Superman thing I sent you yesterday, that's pretty big.
No, the Superman thing was pretty good. I made a comment that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The other ones, though, I mean, come on. I think you might be the only person who ever watched Power. I think its rating was one person.
I don't think. I mean, everyone, like, my family, my wife's family, like that's like everyone watches that. It's like conversation, like it's like water cooler conversation. Everyone watches that. I think it's very cultural. I don't think that many people you're probably running around with watch it.
Maybe. In any case, I never heard of half these people you're talking about. So, but the other thing you mentioned was that something we should probably do. But anyway, you had a week.
I did.
You're burning through. You're attempting to claw your way through the Knicks championship team. One very expensive combo at a time.
Well, hold on. Up until now, and I'm keeping that trend going. There are no combos being had. These are expensive photo ops. But I started off my my 2026 Knicks championship run, which will be a lot more costly than their 2026 championship run, with Landry Shamet at Bull Smith's Tavern. They were basically two ticket options. There was a $100 ticket option, which got you open bar, buffet access, and a photo op. This is the one I went for. And there was a $100 VIP option, which got you a pre-signed 8x10, which that's what took me out of it. If you could have actually selected your item, I would have probably ponied up the extra 50. But I really didn't want an 8x10. Sorry, Vinny. And they also gave you access to the upstairs portion of the bar, which, I mean, I didn't care to do that. And fun fact, while I was there was a downpour of rain and a thunderstorm. And to basically get people out of the torrential rain, they opened the top floor up to everybody. And I didn't bother going up there because once I entered the bar from the rain, the photo ops were going on downstairs. So I just fought my way into one of the lines. There were like 4 different queues, like A, B, C, and D. And I'm not going to go waste time upstairs like a rube while the ops are going on. So essentially, I ate in the rain under an umbrella. The food, as you remarked, it was sort of like cafeteria food. It wasn't anything, extravagant, but I mean, I'll take it. And I got inside for the photo op, and the photo op turned out fine. And we have a little bit of time. We'll be talking about the Knicks pricing at Fanatics Fest, which caused a little bit of a ripple. And for example, Shamet is $142, I believe, at Fanatics Fest for a photo op. This was $100 with dinner and drinks, so not half bad.
I mean, these places, honestly, it's a very reasonable price, because I mean, anywhere you go, I mean, it was an open bar. Like there were people getting like blackout drunk there, or what?
I don't know about blackout drunk, but I think you had the opportunity to if you wanted to. And while we're on the topic of this event, let me just run through because Ari was also there. I saw Ari and his son, and Ari had a similar.
Were they getting blackout drunk, or?
Yeah, Ari, he had his pants on his head. He was really having a great time. But no, it looked good. They got the photo op before the food. The line was around the building. According to Ari, he said that they sold over 500 tickets, which, judging by my own eyes, I think was true. So you're looking at a minimum of $50,000, not counting the 150 tickets. So I'm sure Shamet was definitely a decent number, because I mean, he's not doing this for free. He knows what he's doing. And yeah, so Ari's time was basically as good as mine.
So how long did you have to wait in line?
I pulled up. It was supposed to be 6 to 9. I pulled up around 6, I guess, right on the dot, figuring that most of the line would be in already. It wasn't. So it looped around the entire building. And there was definitely a quicker way. Basically, we were all converging on these two little like podiums with like 19-year-old girls checking lists. And there was definitely a better way to do this. You could have been going up and down because they essentially gave you a wristband. So you could have had people with like iPads or even just multiple copies of the list checking people in from the line. But at the end of the day, I mean, you had 3 hours in there. You probably didn't need 3 hours in there. I think everyone got their op. Food was replenished throughout the night. Drinks, I assume, were flowing to a level Ric Flair would have been happy with. So I guess there was no need for more efficiency, but I always look at these things and sort of pick apart what they could have done better.
Hell, that sounds like a good deal. Any way you swing it, I mean.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So that was that one. You went to see someone called Conway the Machine?
Yeah. Conway the Machine, I don't even know how to really describe him. He's a rapper. He was signed to Eminem's label, Shady. He's if you're not a deep really involved hip hop head, you're not going to know him. I don't think you're supposed to know him. But he's highly respected. He's sort of an old school like 90s style of like lyrical MC in a time. He's like sort of in Drake's era, but he raps more like he's in like Method Man's era. That's sort of how I could explain him. And he was doing an event at the Producer Plug, which is down under the Manhattan Bridge. Of course, the day it was happening was, again, torrential rain. And I was running to the subway in pouring rain. And I got down there. It was supposed to be from 4 to 5. But of course, he didn't get there until I think it was 6:15. And that's standard for rappers, but this was the first time, and I don't even know why. I'm standing in the store, and another name you won't know, but Large Professor. He is like a DJ producer. He sort of discovered or played a role in discovering Nas. He has multiple tracks he produced on Illmatic. He's one of the like icons of hip hop who also will like DJ at this store for events, which if you think about any other genre of music, you don't have icons of the field doing such pedestrian stuff. And that's honestly an indictment on the way the forefathers of hip hop are treated and how they were paid with the different deals they had. And I could go on for a while, which I won't, but that actually made the time pass because you're just watching him from like legit 3 feet away, like mixing and scratching and doing all this stuff. It was kind of fun to see. But when they walked in around 6 o'clock, I don't know why, but like his guy like looked at me and like felt bad for me. I don't really know why. And he started like explaining himself to me about he was like apologizing, like not the other people in line, just me. He's like making eye contact with me, talking to me about that they drove down from Buffalo and the rain and that it was a tough drive. And I was like, I wasn't complaining. I don't know if he thought I was like a Karen. I don't know why he was like focusing on my if I was okay with it. And I was. I mean, it is what it is. It was the first time a rapper has been late in my presence where there was like an apology. Typically, they walk in and act like they were never late. But it was a good event. I got a vinyl signed. The photo was nice. It's a very weird store. I've explained this before, but it's on the outside of some like mall in Chinatown. And the signing takes place in a room inside the mall that is essentially an empty room with a couch and a table. And I don't know why there'd be an empty room with a couch and a table, but there is. I don't know who uses it regularly. It's a strange store. It's around the country. I think there's even some in Europe, this producer plug. I don't know who owns it, how it works. I never see anyone come in and buy anything while I'm in there. But may it last long, because they have some pretty good appearances.
And then finally, your return from the Shawn Michaels High Spots private signing came in. I don't know. I find this whole endeavor of yours very strange, insofar as we had been talking for weeks, if not months, about how you were going to decide what item you were sending in to be signed, and then at the last minute you decided not to sign anything in and to just buy something of theirs instead. I don't know.
Well, I will explain it briefly. The magazines, I looked for the magazines I wanted to send. I thought they were on the shelf under my label printer in the stack of magazines. I can describe this now in less detail because you've seen all this, whether you're whether you liked seeing it or not, you did. You can visualize where this is. It wasn't in that stack. So where I think it is, it's in the bin of magazines by the window behind our vendor table cages. I did not feel like pulling out the cages. I'm like, forget it. I don't care. It's a sign from God. I shouldn't send it. Then I said, all right, I'm going to send in the Bone Cruncher. I thought I had a Series 1 Bone Cruncher, but I have a Series 2 Bone Cruncher. I like Series 2 as well, but at this point I was focusing on Series 1. So I'm like, maybe I'll send just Series 2. But then I'm like, that's going to bother me. If I had both, I'd send both. I don't. I could have purchased it from eBay, but I procrastinated. And the thing I bought from them, it wasn't like I just picked some random 8x10. I bought this figure from Amazon when it was on sale, and I planned on getting it signed eventually. And they had it up there for $180, and the damn thing sells on eBay unsigned for $50. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if I sell it for $50, and even after fees, you're talking an extra $140, $150. That's the price of an autograph. So I might as well just get it done. They'll ship it to me signed, inserted, and I just sell mine, and I call it a day. Is it the most flashy and extravagant thing I could have done with this opportunity? No. But since I started planning that I was doing this, I've added Dallas and Chicago to my budget. My Fanatics Fest budget has gone up with the Knicks winning the championship. More on that later. And I didn't have an extra $500-600 to rationally spend on a private signing. So if Shawn Michaels dies in 3 weeks and I never get another chance, I'll take the lumps that you'll throw my way on the air. But as it is, I'm going to be optimistic. He's going to live.
Mm-hmm. The problem is with all the drugs that he did, he could die any day, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's how it goes with these guys. Or he could be pickled like Ric Flair and just incredibly still remain alive, however sad that life is. One can never tell, Fair. I hope Shawn goes before Rick in a way, because to me, there's no one I like less than Shawn. Rick at least is amusing on some level, and also had a sort of an icon, Mount Rushmore type. Shawn just should be hit by a cement truck. But anyway, you're gonna sit on that the signed 2-pack with Marty. You're never gonna get that done by Shawn, right? Have you come to terms with that?
No, I think he'll come around.
I mean, he should be on these Fanatics rosters, and the fact that he isn't of concern to you?
No, I don't think he's going to die that soon. Maybe I'm completely just wishful thinking. I think he's had enough time now where he's lived a relatively good life. I mean, we're talking 20 years, 25 years. He's been, at least on the surface, living relatively clean. I think he's okay, maybe. And I think he'll do. I think Big Event will get him eventually. I think someone will get him eventually. I know all the logic. I know you put it in the Defender. You stuff the Defender with the bubble wrap to keep. I get all that. But this is still, you're talking 35, nearly 40-year-old glue. And I know the way these packages.
You got it. You got it. You received it, right?
Yeah, but do you really want to go chancing that? Hey, chuck this into a truck from 20 yards, please.
It's been done multiple times, and it's life cycle.
Much like a lot of these wrestlers, how many hits do you think they have left? One more hit.
I think it's weird, like fear over something that doesn't matter enough to justify the fear. Like
if it matters enough for me to do, it should matter enough for me to want it done right.
No, because done wrong is such a negative compared to, if it gets wrecked, you do get another one, but to have it sitting unsigned forever is like this blight on your collection, on your existence. It's just there. It's staring at you like
like my single signed Bushwhacker.
With that, who cares about the Bushwhackers, to be honest? Look, I didn't care about the Bushwhackers, really.
You didn't even watch this era.
No, which is why I wouldn't get a 2-pack of them. Although I had that Rockers 2-pack because I bought it. That Rockers 2-pack came out. It was the old Rockers. You know what I mean? It was. There's actually a funny story about that because I actually lived around the corner from a KB Toys. That's my parents' house was. And so I would walk over there when I was like 10 or 11 or 12 pretty much every day to check on like shipments and whatnot. And one day I walked over there and I see the Rockers 2-pack. And I remember it was $14.99 for the 2-pack, which was high because the individual
big number back then.
Well, especially because the individual figures were $5.99, and so it was actually more than 2 of the figures put together, which I thought, frankly, was malarkey. But whatever, that's what it was. And I didn't have any money on me because it wasn't like I wasn't carrying like $15 plus tax back then. That was crazy. So I ran home, and my mom, I can't remember exactly how old I was. My mom was holding my money. I'm like, I need this money to buy the Rockers, and she's like, no. And I remember like losing my mind. But why would you withhold my money? I need them. And she was, I don't know why she was acting like that, but she refused to give it to me. And it caused this whole huge fight. And it was a huge, huge fight. And I finally got the money after an hour or two. I had hid the figures, by the way. In the did you ever do that? Did you ever hide figures in the store?
Of course.
So I had hid the figures in KB. I ran back to KB to buy them, and guess what?
They were gone.
They were gone. And it really, as deranged as this sounds, that experience kind of soured me on the Hasbro line altogether. Because I went home empty-handed. I was enraged. My mom thought it was the funniest thing. And then she basically said, I got my just desserts. Like, haha, you deserve that. I'm not really sure her logic, if we're being candid, but I was pretty pissed. And yeah, the whole Hasbro line was ruined for me.
I say we get her on the show to answer for this.
She would do one of those things where she would claim not to remember. Anytime my brother or I brings up something that she did that, was like something that made us mad as kids, she just claims to not have remembered doing it. And like, I laugh about that. I love like her commitment to that bit. My brother gets mad. It's very funny. I'm like, it's clearly has to be some kind of bit. Anything we bring up, these very memorable things that she did to piss us off when we were kids, she just claims not to have done them. I don't remember doing that. So it is a pretty funny thing. So anyway, that is your stuff for this week. I don't really have anything. I tell you what I did this week. I continued organizing my posters. So now, just in case anyone cares or is keeping track, I am waiting on, because it's back ordered, the Baroque 24x41 binder. But I do have a whole stack of 24x41 and 24x36 sleeves, and all my posters are in those sleeves waiting to be put into the binder. Then I bought an Atoya 18x24, an Atoya 11x17, and an Atoya 13x19. When all of those sizes combined cover what I need for my entire poster collection to go in. Right now,
you essentially spent enough money on storage that you could have met the 2026 Knicks team at Fanatics Fest.
Well, yeah, because as opposed to storing my stuff like garbage and having. No,
I agree, but it's just like it has to be made clear to the people listening. I don't know if we really got into this, but the proper storage options are not cheap.
No, my Baroque, my order from Baroque was $500.
Yeah,
that was with the sleeves and the binder.
You're paying handsomely to do it right, and that's what you should
do. To be fair, the 11x17 Atoya was like I think under $20. I got it. It was not expensive.
That must have been on sale.
Yeah, it was. The 13 by 19 was maybe $30. The 18 by 24 was like, I got a good, because Blick started throwing discounts on me. So I want to say $55 after tax, which really, it should have been more, because on Amazon it was $100 for the 18 by 24. So I got a
Blick
great
is really
price.
Blick is a special place. It really is. It's honestly like Mecca for like the hobbyists. Like it. Really,
I thought I was. And I walked in there. I had never been in there before. And I said, and I walked on.
Weren't you in there with me?
No, you went without me.
I did?
Yes. I was on the way to a con once and you went without me. I didn't go. I had never been. So I went in there and I'm like, I can't find the Atoyas. And I'm like, oh man, I tried to do a cursory look, but the way the aisles are labeled, I couldn't figure it out. So I asked the girl and she walks me. I'm like, I feel embarrassed. As crazy as I feel embarrassed saying it, with the Atoyas. And she just walks me over, and there's like a whole half of an aisle of all different size of toys in a store, and I was completely blown away by this. So, yeah, that was great. I am just about finished. The only posters I have left to put away, I ran out of the 27 by 41 sleeves, but the binder comes with 20 more sleeves, so that's 40 more posters. So I'll put the rest in there once they come. I think they're scheduled for August. That's what the back order.
Now, what'd you say the dimensions are on the full size sleeves?
They're 27 by 41, and I also bought the 24 by 36, and they're interchangeable in that binder.
I thought you said a different number somehow. I was like, huh? And then I think I may have misheard. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So, and then I have like one or two posters that are just oversized weird things, and I don't know what to do with them. What I want to do with them is get rid of them, because now at this point I don't want anything in that's not properly stored. I want these in flat, and honestly, already. Because some of these have been sitting flat now for a week or two. They're already starting to kind of unfurl from their curled up storage, and they're already starting to look better flat, which is very, very nice. I'm pretty pleased.
Yeah, you actually came to me with all the crap you were going to put in the garbage can to see if I wanted any, which I think was nice. But I also wonder if this is my like reputation that I will take garbage.
To be fair, there are some kids who graduated. I'm giving them some unsigned posters. Because I don't want them. I paid money for them, but it's the kind of thing where they're in that spot where they're like $25 on eBay. These posters, I don't want to mail them at that price point, and especially because when you're trying to ship a tube, then the tube is $15, and what I'm making $10, and I have to go to the post office, and I have to hope it doesn't get wrecked, and they're not all in perfect condition. Some of the ends got chewed because
Did you
of the way
ever
they were
check the
stored.
Potter poster?
No. I'm not going to. I'll be honest. It's back away in storage, so it's that's done. The funny thing was, I was thinking now, do I pull Sweeney Todd out to get signed by Jamie Campbell Bower? Is the question.
You have to.
But Helena Bonham Carter, there was a minute when I thought she was going to start doing cons in the U.S. and she never did. She did them overseas. But if there was like a Sweeney Todd reunion with him, Johnny Depp, and Helena Bonham Carter, and God forbid, maybe even Sacha Baron Cohen, that would be absolutely unhinged, But I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to start a Sweeney Todd poster with Jamie Campbell Bower, who's the least important person of the main cast.
I think you should, because we know Johnny, much like Cage, we know he's lost a lot of money. And he has a lot of money just dangling on this tree branch. And I really can't imagine eventually he's not going to hit the States and do it, do the run we're all kind of expecting him to do.
Perhaps, but I'm not getting involved with that. I mean, Jamie Campbell Bower's not going anywhere. He's young. He's doing cons like crazy. He has the perfect con career where it's not like he's going to all of a sudden not do them, because the Stranger Things thing really made him a con mainstay.
Yeah, he's a made man now.
I told you, I can't remember if we even talked about it. Yes, I did. I talked about it last week. Never mind. He was part of that original Wizard World lineup that got completely canceled. That was booked by Celebrity Authentics. And that's why I bought that poster for him back in whatever 09 or whatever that was, when Wizard World was going to book Willem Dafoe. It was Willem Dafoe, Jamie Campbell Bower, and there was one more big name, and all three were canceled by Celebrity Authentics. I still ended up going to that show because those Wizard World shows had a lot of, even the low end guests. That was that time when that Wizard World Philly, they booked like all those people from Survivor randomly, and all these people who I was super happy to see. That Wizard World Philly, they booked Rupert from Survivor, and he was like the biggest name to ever be on Survivor at the biggest Survivor store, and they booked it. I never saw him at a con since then, but that was like super cool. I don't know. I thought that was cool anyway. All right, let's get to board engagement now, because the big story of the week on the board was the pricing of the Knicks at Fanatics Fest. And I mean, I'm not surprised that these champion players are priced so high. I mean, there are people who are surprised, but I'm not surprised by it. I have no interest in paying it.
People are surprised, and I'm probably going to insult a couple of our listeners, but that's okay. I think if you're listening to us, you kind of know that's how we roll. We insult each other on a weekly basis, so that's fine. But there was a lot of real, like, just broke energy in the comments. We've never seen this happen before. You didn't have Fanatics Fest San Francisco after Golden State won, and got to see what Steph and Clay and Draymond would be. This team won in New York City, breaking a half-century drought. Jalen Brunson at this point, is he going to go down next to MJ and Kobe and people like that at the end of his career? No. But right now in New York City, he's Jeter at his peak. He's a god. And anyone that saw them keep punting and kicking this can down the road during the playoff run should have known what they were doing. They were holding and waiting and just hoping that they were going to win because the price was going to be different. I bet you could probably take 30% off all of these prices had they lost. Conference final, Eastern Conference champions that lost doesn't quite have the sizzle it has. It has now as the streak busters, the winners, and it's not surprising. Jalen Brunson after fees is over $1,000. I don't think we've ever had a Finals MVP a month after it ended doing an event like this ever. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone out there, I'm sure Greg 2600 is going to find that Bill Russell was at a car dealership back in 1973. Something happened to prove me wrong, but I can't think of it in modern times.
I get it. It's just it's very distasteful, I think, to some people when Brunson's price has gone up by a factor of 4. And it's like it's not like his salary went up. It's not like it's just and I also suspect his fee went up, but Fanatics is also taking a nice healthy cut off of that as well.
Yeah. For sure,
and that's very good. And I understand that they're taking advantage. I think it's not even controversial to say they're taking advantage of people's sort of eagerness to get this done. Now, you might say, well, of course they should be taking advantage of it, but I don't know. I feel like there, on some level, there is sort of some celebration with the fans or something like that, where you go, do you really need $1,000 per photo op? Like, this is not something people can resell. This is not something that has any material value whatsoever. They could run 1,000 of these. You know, it's not like the interactions are so fast. They could sell 1,000. They can put them up there for 2 hours and sell 1,000 photo ops. So to do this, it really does seem exploitative. You know, but I mean. I guess the question is, are you surprised? Is anyone really surprised that they're exploiting and getting the absolute top dollar? And you shouldn't be if you are, is the reality.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on several levels. The first one being the idea that they could run 100, 200, 1,000. We don't know the nature of this deal. The autograph portion of the appearance went away. I don't know if Brunson is willing to do endless amounts of time. I mean, obviously he's not. Maybe he came to them with a demand. He was going to do X amount of photos, X amount of time, whatever. And it's to act like time is infinite. I'm not putting this on you. I'm saying just a lot of the comments that people were saying, oh, it's just photos. They could do 1 million of them. It's like, well, Brunson might not be willing to do 1 million of them. Because again, how many reigning Finals MVPs are out there doing this? So I don't know if they really could have changed the calculus too much on how many they could sell and in turn how much they could charge. Second point, the price they charged when he was last there, he wasn't there last year. This was 2 years ago. it was oversold to a level that he left. In part, I think because he didn't feel he had enough security around him. I think that's what I've heard from several people. I don't know. But he left, and there were people still waiting for their ops and autographs, and they didn't get it. So right then and there, they underpriced, oversold. So they were already using their old math as a benchmark is not good because it was already out of whack then, and it got screwed up, and fans got screwed. The ones that got through and paid a good price were lucky, but the ones that weren't would probably have a very different opinion. So that would be, and then my final point would be the idea that they are doing that weekend, I believe, the live podcast of the Roommates Show with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson in Central Park. And the ticket after fees is $2,159. That person bought like protection. If you don't,
no, but that's for two people, not one.
Yeah, it's for two people with protection. So you're still looking at around $1,000, I would imagine, for one person to do this. So if you think for a second Brunson is going to be doing $400 or $500 ops while he's trying to sell these that he's seeing the money from, he's protecting his value. He took the team-friendly deal to win the ring. This is where he cooks. This is probably what was in his mind. All of this to start building this, brand now.
So something you need to understand. I'm assuming this the block party thing is at a venue, right?
Correct.
So the standard rate venues tip for these kind of things. Venues typically take about 50% of the cut of whatever the charge is. So just to give you an idea. So if there's a very good chance that if he's about $1,000 here and he's about $1,000 at Fanatics, the Fanatics themselves are taking about half.
Sure.
If he's getting $500 per, that's an ungodly number. You realize that, right?
If we were in a position to bring Jalen Brunson to the people, and we were in a position where we could take a $500 cut on every sale, and it was going to sell out in seconds, would you be morally objecting to making that money? Because I wouldn't.
I think it's complicated. I really think it's complicated. $500 per unit is a very high number. It is a very high number, and I'm going to go a step further. That's a non-standard number in this industry. It just is. When the average cut for the con on a photo op is $10 to $15, right? Which there are ways of calculating that, and that's pretty standard. The typical way this goes is the con. There's a photo op. The guest gets a piece. The photo op company gets a piece, and the con gets a piece. And typically, the con gets $10 to $15 per. Let's just say Fanatics, wanted $100 per. That's already 10 times, right? 7 to 10 times the normal cut for a photo op. Fine. To get $500 per unit sold, 50 times the normal cut. I'm not saying you shouldn't try and make as much money as possible, but I also think that does invite people to raise their eyebrows a little bit. And especially when you look at the other Knicks, because they're certainly not making that much on the other ones, when we're looking at even like a Josh Hart or even Landry Shamet, right? Landry Shamet's a perfect example of what's going on here. So if that place though that you went was $100 for the photo and it included food, right? I suspect Shamet was probably getting $70 to $80 per unit, and they were just taking their cut probably to promote their other business or whatever and just spending it on food. They were probably, profiting a very small amount and putting the rest into food and drink. So just doing the math, if on a $100 ticket, if they certainly weren't going to just lose all that money on food and drink. So $20 ish or so probably went to, because alcohol is expensive. And so he was probably getting, $80 per unit. So Landry Shamet at $142 at Fanatics, the photo op company has to get their cut. It's usually $15. That's what the usual cut is for that. So 142 minus 15 is 127. So you ish, with various credit card fees, let's say Fanatics is taking a $20 to $25 cut per photo with Landry Shamet. That's in line with normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm not convinced that Shamet would have been taking 80 of the 100. I would think the bar was trying to make a little more than that. I don't know. I also don't know if out of $1,000 if Fanatics is really touching 500. They might be. You're making compelling arguments, but I mean, at this point, we're both just sort of assuming and guessing and approximating.
I mean, I can tell you that the most venues will take 40 to 50% of they take 40 to 50% of the merch, 40 to 50% of the meet and greet, 40 to 50% of the ticket sales. That's what they take.
But are we considering Javits Center with Fanatics Fest as a con? Are we considering Fanatics the venue? Like, are they operating like a con?
No. I'm talking about for the podcast.
Oh, for the podcast, sure.
That's my point. If it's $1,000 per ticket and 500 of that is going to the venue, that means Brunson is willing to take $500 a shot. That's what I'm just spitballing, right? So knowing that, he might have a slightly different ask from Fanatics, but these are the numbers that you have to be ballparking. That's how you can get an idea. Fanatics is taking hundreds of dollars per unit. That's very, very high. It just is.
I think it's also bears mentioning that I think for Brunson, at least if I was Brunson right now, what he's taking home from each sale is almost less important than what people are paying, because you should be trying to create this value in this image and this brand. He's been very team friendly. He wears the Kobe sneakers instead of wanting his own line. I would hope that's going to change. He should have his own shoe. He should be building his own brand in the way Jordan did, in the way Kobe did. He should be building his own brand, even if he's not to that level. He should in New York. I don't think he has to be at that level to sort of. So I don't think he really, even if he's willing to take 500, I think he would be almost fine with it saying 1,000, because that's if that's the way the business is going, but he's still perceived he's the most expensive guy on the card. That raises his status a little bit.
I'm not disagreeing with that in principle. I just think that there is room for this price to be a little bit more sane. I think this is this is not just Brunson getting. My argument is this is not just Brunson getting what he's worth. This is Fanatics beating up on their own fan base as well.
That's fair. I think if we go really quick beyond Brunson, I think Towns at 338. I think that's fair. Fresh off a title win. He's at his highest he'll probably ever be. He had a great run in the playoffs. I think that's fair. I paid like 150, 160 when he wasn't a champion. So you double it, that's fine. Hart and Bridges, 283, fine. If anything, I think Hart might have been low because he sold out really quick. I had a little bit of a problem with some of the lower ones that you end up paying like 140 on. But what I did was I just made the decision to get everybody. I almost didn't get Kolek and Jordan Clarkson. And then I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I have most of these guys. I didn't have to pay for Brunson or Towns. I'm splitting a lot of the other ones. Just do it all, even though they're going to probably be half that when the hype dies down. They could just as easily go somewhere else. You never see them again. So I did it all that I needed. Luckily, the little rat was trying to like goad me, I think, into doing the Brunson op, because my photo is like in front of the table. I don't care. It's valid.
It is kind of bad though.
Nah, I don't mind in front of the table. You can't live the hobby that I live. You can't do what I do and have that kind of. You would blow your brains out. Like
you say that, and yet you are. Yet you say that, but you're not consistent, because you were having a coronary when I told you that Kevin Clash was bringing the Elmo or the Splinter puppet around to that show, and you're like, now I have to get all these. I have to redo all the photo ops and get them all again. So come on, who are we kidding here?
Well, that's not $1,000 op, first of all. Second of all, I mean, that's not saying there's anything wrong with the one I have. That's just saying, I mean, if Brunson was coming in the uniform, that's a different story. He's going to stand there in the jersey, the shorts, the sneakers. Maybe I do that. I may throw that $1,000 op on a pay-in for. But just to be standing next to him as opposed to in front of the table, that I can't worry about. I mean, I have selfies from the street that are a little blurry and whatever. Like, that's just how the game is.
So are you gonna be beside yourself if he shows up in gimmick with like a championship ring that he displays in the photo?
I'm not really a big I like the rings and photos. Not really. If he came, I mean, like if Towns, for example, came in like that leather jacket that he wore to the parade and all that, maybe a little bit. But I mean. And not really. It would really just be like uniform. That would actually bug me, which would never happen.
But yet you're rebuying the Trick Williams because he's being gimmicked up.
Well, yes, those are lemon pepper steppers, hopefully, and the belt, and I'm splitting it. So you're talking what? It's gonna be like what, $80, $60,
It's so funny, all
$70.
these splits. Just thinking every time, like, because you sent me Dana sends me, in case anyone cares, he sends me his like list for all of these shows, and on these lists, he notates like which ones are splits, and every time like all these splits, I'm like, I cannot. Oh, it's a nightmare.
I mean, the beautiful thing is, I've been my splits for years on my own sweat and Photoshop are unrecognizably splits. And now with Gemini, I could unsplit these in the line for the next one. Like, it's that easy. Like, so I mean, it's free money, honestly, in most cases.
I understand. It's just it's horrifying to me. Honestly, that's the word I would use. Horrifying.
Listen, if I wasn't splitting, I'd be dropping $6,000, I think, on Fanatics Fest. So thank God for the splits.
I mean, sometimes things just need to be done. These things need to be done. You gotta take care of business. Anyway, what else do we have here? So let's get to some of the. I think we didn't actually touch on the main point you wanted to touch on, was whether autograph and photo op prices have finally reached their breaking point.
I think, if anything, they were priced too low. I think Brunson should have been $1,500. He sold out too quick. If he sold out, as you say, when we sell something on eBay in about 20 minutes, we priced it too low. They priced it too low. You have a finals MVP in the city he just is a hero in, charge more. Josh Hart, they could have charged more. Karl Towns, a little bit. Bridges is probably a bit high. Bridges probably should have been in the Mitchell Robinson price range. I don't think there's a breaking point at all. I think there's I think if you go by the broke people complaining, I'm not trying to be like, elitist, because there's no elite behavior being shown by me. I'm deranged. Like, this is like, this is like someone naked in Central Park saying like, oh, you guys don't live like me. Like, I'm nuts. So I don't mean to seem like I'm like putting people down. But the people that were bitching about that makes it appear like they've hit a breaking point weren't going to buy it at $5 or $6 or anything. They want them for $200 because they're broke and they think it should be on par with like Kurt Angle, and it's not. So I think it's just fine. These guys, the big ones, sold out real quick. And if another team wins a championship and you can bring the people in hot off the parade, you charge even more.
I get it. I do get it. All right. Let's go to the reports. Let's do the reports. So what do we have here? Zach Chiara, he went to the Garden State Comic Fest, and this was the report that like got you spiraling about Kevin Clash, because that was like a big Ninja Turtles reunion. I mean, they had Michael Turney there, who had never done a con, and he was like that annoying teenager who joined the Foot Clan, but he was kind of like his role was pivotal in the dramatic sequence of the movie. He's an actor who's done nothing else in his life of any note. But if you love that 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, he is a pivotal role there. When I did see that Kevin Clash Splinter puppet, and I was like, damn, that's the first idea was sent it to you because I knew you would get upset. That, by the way, in case anyone like wants to understand the dynamic of what's going on here, I half the time just send Dana stuff because I know it'll make him mad. And did it make you mad?
Sort of mad, sort of excited, and then sort of mad about my excitement. He's going to be, I believe he's in Chicago and Dallas. I just have to hope that he brings both puppets. I'm assuming he will. I don't think he's local to the Northeast where he like drove in with the puppets. I guess he must check these puppets onto the plane. And I don't know. Zach Chiara said he got both Elmo and Splinter. I'm assuming this guy isn't generous and lets you get both. You probably got to pay separate for each, which is annoying. But if the Elmo looks half as good as the Splinter, I have no choice. Like, that is an upgrade that matters. It's not that much money. I'm not going to pay $1,000.
Sorry,
it's not the first puppet I've paid for.
I know, it's just funny. It's just a funny thing. I am allowed to laugh. It's funny.
That's fair. Brunson in front of the table, behind the table, doesn't bother me. Not having what
if the puppet's in front of the table and he's behind?
Actually, might be better. That might be better. I don't know. But I mean, if the Elmo looks like a Tickle Me Elmo that he's holding, I mean, maybe I'll pass on the Elmo. I haven't seen the Elmo yet, but I'm sure it's going to be good. The Splinter is awesome, honestly. So
it looks screen used, for crying out loud.
I'm saying, I'm sure it's not, but like it looks like it. So I will be on the Kevin Clash line in one of those fan expos. And if he doesn't have the puppet, he can kick rocks. But if he's got the puppet, he's got my money.
Hilarious. Now, what is this? Is this Phil? The other report?
Yes. Yeah.
So then Phil also went to the Garden State Comic Fest, and he did the Mortal Kombat with Carlos and Daniel Pesina from Mortal Kombat, the original models, actors, whatever, from the original Mortal Kombat arcade game. And he definitely had some issues with his pro photo op with the Thundercats, and then both in terms of the photo quality and then also the print quality. He seemed to struggle a little bit there. I don't know. When you read his report, I kept cringing when he said my trusty gold Sharpie. I think you have to maybe you have to DM Phil and sort of go over the proper pen rules for these kinds of shows.
Yeah, you can't be priding yourself on being really very selective and anal about your pen choice if you're choosing a generic Sharpie, gold or silver. I mean, if bronze, I think I would vote to like drag you behind the car. Like the bronze Sharpie, like, no, come on. I think Vinny actually loves the bronze Sharpie, so he'll probably be offended by this. But I mean, others out there that use the bronze Sharpie, I guess, are having success. But yeah, you need I think you would have had a better success with a gold deco. Fine tip. That would probably been better. But ultimately, I will admit that if it's really crappy paper quality, which I don't know who they had, as much as we bash Epic and Leap for just being like shysters and whatever, well, you know, the product they hand you is solid. You're not getting, it's not some antiquated technology. The print quality is fine. You're not getting anything that's blurry. And I find it interesting how, like, they blamed it on a Wi-Fi issue, and perhaps it's you know, if there was weak Wi-Fi, maybe it like degrades the photo to get it transferred quicker. That's a possibility. But it also is a possibility that the photographer didn't focus correctly, and there was simply a blurry photo that they gave Phil, and the guy didn't notice it to retake it, and he put it through some app with AI to like sharpen it. Because if you zoom in on his pro op, it doesn't look like an Epic Leap printout, even still, which he said. It didn't look perfect. So I don't know what they did. It's not good. It's not right. It's a great shot in terms of, like, you know, I've never watched the Thundercats, but there's a lot of people there that aren't going to be alive for much longer. They're old. And it looks like a great, like a well put together photo. It's just a bad quality. The photographer should be doing better.
Not a great experience, but it shows. Honestly, I understand why he did the pro photo. It's why I try to avoid pro photos pretty much at all costs. Because 9 times out of 10, you have a better experience at the table anyway. You just gotta wait. You know?
And not a formal report, but IVP Chris made a comment on, I think, Zach Chiara's report. He went down for the Ninja Turtles and seemed to have a good time. But Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of the Ninja Turtles, and the name that was a little bit of a temptation to get me there, but I had a lot going on this week, and I just didn't do it. But apparently, like, he went at opening, and other people I read went like early, and they would give you like a card with a time to come back. And when you went back at that time, they were nowhere near ready for you, and they were telling a lot of people to just come at close. Which, if you get there at 9 a.m. or whatever and you're trying to get Kevin Eastman, and they tell you to come back at 4:30. That is a nightmare, a complete nightmare. Because, like, what are you doing? Are you going to play like rock, paper, scissors with Paige Turco for 6 hours? Like, you kind of run out of things to do, you know, if you're us, you know, very, very quickly. But I think, you know, all's well that ends well. Chris got him. And I mean, other people did as well. One knock I saw was that he spends too much time with the people. And
well, that's definitely true. I mean, Kevin Eastman's a yapper. He just says he's actually a really, really, really nice guy. But he's a yapper, and that's why it happens. I mean, I got Kevin Eastman the first time before the Ninja Turtles resurgence, and so he was at that he runs that comic company, or is an investor in that comic company. I forget the name of it. Heavy Metal Comics, I think it was called. I went up to him, there was no line. He sketched me a whole Splinter in the book, didn't charge me anything for it. That was the old NYCC rules, you know. Yeah. And then that was when I got that really nice NYCC exclusive 2-pack of not 2-pack, the 4-pack of the Ninja Turtle figures, and I got him and Peter Laird to sign it, and I sold it for like $600, some stupid number. Afterwards, I didn't pay anything for their signatures either. And then, but when I met him more recently, it was a whole boondoggle. The issue is he just talks a lot. The demand is incredibly high for him, and yes, I get it. Why that's going to happen. I don't think I'd ever do Eastman again. For those reasons, it's just not worth it. And he signs so much. There's so much of his out there that the secondary market value is just not good for any of it. So, what else we got? So the big story out of Fan Expo Anaheim, Mark Hamill was there. Tyler went to get Mark Hamill. Seemed to have a great time. I did see reports, not unmarked out, but elsewhere, that there was such significant rushing going on in the Mark Hamill line, and they were giving him dead pens. Did you see these?
I didn't.
So they were giving him dead pens. He was signing with dead silver Sharpies on people's stuff. Look, I don't know any other way to say this. If you're going to spend $700 on an autograph, bring a goddamn pen. Okay? Like, this is one thing I'll never understand. You're going to spend $700 on an autograph, and you're not going to spend the extra $5 to make sure that you have your own fresh pen that you've controlled, that you've prepped. You're going to rely on some nudnik behind the desk who doesn't know what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. And like, I saw people say to the guy, there's a few reports where this happened. Like, why didn't you bring your own pen? I assumed a big company like Official Picks would have good pens. It's dumb. It's stupid behavior. Bring a pen. You heard it from us. How many times we've devoted hours on this damn show to talking about pens. Bring your own pen. This is a perfect example of it.
And it's not a question of good pens versus bad pens. It's a question of pens that have been used to the breaking point. I'll be completely honest. When we have a table, we drop a handful of pens. Once in a while, I think, we'll drop a paint pen or two. I personally don't. I just drop like whatever. If you want your own paint pen, if you want a paint pen, you should have your own. But I'm not like periodically checking these damn pens. If one of those black Sharpies dies and I don't catch it, it is what it is. I don't know. I'm not checking pens every 20 minutes. So if you don't have your own pen and you are relying on mine, Official Picks, I don't care whose, proceed at your own risk.
Right. It's just, I don't understand it. Greg 2600 was out at the Tribeca Film Festival. I believe we had Vin's report last week, so this is Greg's. He had success with a whole bunch of people, some of whom you want, like Elisha Cuthbert and Vera Farmiga. You wanted both of them.
Yeah, I realized I should have went in for Vera. I knew the event, I just didn't, and it was a mistake.
He also, Greg loves the tennis players. He got Chris Evert. What happened with Martina? I don't remember.
Same. I'm blanking on it. Hold on. The wacky moment of the fest was seeing a sportsgrapher swear and cuss out Martina Navratilova, who I then ran down the block to beat to the party, which was perfectly pleasant. That's what happens. You can't curse out these people, especially if you're planning on seeing them later. There was actually, I remember a funny NYC story that Greg 2600 told me that Grapher Wong was cursing someone out. And I think they were going to see her at a party right after. And Greg looked at him and said, "What the hell's wrong with you? We're going to see her in 10 minutes. He's busy cursing her out as she blanked at the one spot. You can't do that. I suppose you can do that, but it's not the greatest strategy to me.
Not at all. And there was kind of a little bit of an uproar. I thought it was really funny. This just shows you how the world of the internet is changing. So Dustin got David Lee Roth, and I couldn't help but notice that when he posted his post said something about being AI generated. Right now, everyone knows. Not everyone, I guess, but a lot of people know Diamond Dave is very difficult. And so that he got a smiling Diamond Dave. It looked like in some kind of private setting, and it's a bunch of autographs and whatnot. And his post was flagged by Facebook as being AI. A lot of people were criticizing it that it was the AI, it wasn't real. And then did you catch what the AI part was?
Yeah, the thumb. He took the thumb out.
He just removed a thumb in the photo with AI, so it's pretty funny.
I'm not sure if it was flagged for AI so much as certain posts. Like, I'll post reports and different things. I'll even post like our show graphic, which I guess there is AI in the show graphic.
Yeah.
And it like will create like a title. Like
no, that's not what that was. It actually it had a tag. I saw the tag, and it said this post contains AI.
It said AI info. If you click that content, okay.
So that's pretty funny, you know. I was like, I had never really seen that before, but yeah, I mean, that's for Dustin to get that with David Lee Roth is huge. I mean, that is a very, very rare experience. And then finally, Ari, he met Tom Laidlaw at the New York Rangers draft party. So Ari definitely gets around to all the New York related sports events in the area.
For sure.
So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and or review. You could leave a rating on Apple Podcasts or a review. You could leave a comment on individual episodes on Spotify or a rating on the show, or you could leave a thumbs up or thumbs down or a comment on any episode on YouTube. Please check out our Marked Out Radio merch on our ProWrestlingTees.com shop. You can check it out in the pinned post on the Facebook group, or you can check it out in the link below. Let's talk about con news. So there's a bunch of stuff going on with Fanatics Fest. I want your take because you're a Fanatics cheerleader. So they've added 2 undeniably fantastic names: Alexander Ovechkin, the hockey player, and Dr. J, Julius Erving, the basketball legend, but they have canceled quite a few names.
On a personal level, I purchased Dr. J. I'm happy about that. On the cancellation level, it hit me. Randy Orton was the only name that was on my list. It was also arguably, along with the lemon pepper steppered Trick Williams, was my least important WWE photo. One could argue perhaps I was saved from my own insanity with that one. Freddie Freeman, I imagine, was a bloodbath. They were pricing him like Pippin. And, I mean, this is not Braves country. This is not Dodgers country. And even if you are fans of those franchises, that's a big number to pay. So I think he was probably just a casualty of poor sales. And the WWE ones, I mean, Bianca, is she still pregnant? I'm not even sure, but she's not on the road. Drew hasn't been on TV. I think he's filming some movie or something. Like, it's not shocking. Chet Holmgren's role there was always kind of not clear. And he had a horrific conference finals. So, whatever.
So, yeah, I mean, the funny thing was, I had said multiple times, like, well, maybe I would eventually, you know, I would make drop into Fanatics for Randy Orton. With Randy off of the lineup, it's like, well, there's just nothing for me there at all. So, as a great man once said, it seals the deal, right? Rhode Island Comic-Con. This was something we were discussing quite a bit off the air. Rhode Island Comic-Con has added a whole slew of people from Avatar: The Last Airbender, both the original cartoon and the Netflix live action show. It's hard to argue with the popularity of Avatar. Avatar is a wildly popular franchise. Granted, the guy who plays the clown on the live action show, he did not do well in Pittsburgh. So I'm curious how some of these live action people fare in Rhode Island. But the animated stars, they draw extremely, extremely well. So
are you in for any of them?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't want any autographs because I'm not doing that. And getting photo ops with voice actors is a no-no. So I might get the photo ops with the live action actors incidentally, but that's about it for me.
I mean, right on brand for you. So I respect the consistency.
Yeah, a photo op with a voice actor, it makes no sense. So yeah, I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested. There's no other way to say I'm just not interested. What else do we got? No, the Nostalgia Con. So that's that big that's that one that's been rumored for a while where they were going to throw some big money into it, and then we were looking at the lineup like, when's the money coming in? Because the lineup was really weak for a long time, but they've started to add some pretty big names.
Yeah, Skylar Aston from Pitch Perfect, Charlie Shatler from Ben 10, Mitchell Musso from Hannah Montana, T.C. Carson, a voice actor in different things, and he was also on Living Single. Bonnie Wright, who I have her wand. If I end up there, that'll be nice for me. Lita, who I think may have been on last week's outline, but here she is again. She's still there. And then James Lafferty of One Tree Hill joins the previously announced Chad Michael Murray for a One Tree Hill reunion. That is a phrase that is not uttered often in the con world, and honestly should be said a lot more. It's a perfect kind of show for the reunion. I've never watched One Tree Hill, but I'm a little tempted by the group up of the show I haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing's getting me here still, so nothing that's really drawing me in. But it's good. It's a good show, objectively speaking. And finally, big event just added a couple names. Big boxing name Roy Jones Jr. and Ricky Williams, the football player. I don't know how well these guys will do for big event. I just don't. Big event is kind of an insular wrestling crowd. I mean, Tom had Christina Ricci a few years ago and she didn't draw. Christina Ricci draws, man. So like, I just don't know how these guys will do at a wrestling con.
I respect Tom always looking ahead and understanding that the big event as solely a wrestling con kind of puts its expiration date like on the package when maybe you could avoid having one altogether. But these little like these, dipping your toe in the different genres has not always worked well as far as what the audience is looking for. I mean, Roy Jones Jr., Ricky Williams, he's a pretty good name. So I would hope they will do well. I'm not sure. If I was throwing money on this, I wouldn't be super confident. And that's all about the audience, not about the booking.
Right. Well, I think here, so the question is, are you interested in either of them?
Probably not. I spend too much on NBA. I can't start chasing like non-giant football players from the time I watched. And boxing's not my bag. Never has been.
This is the issue, though, because you are really kind of a perfect encapsulation of the demographic of the kind of person that goes to these shows. And so these are big. I mean, Roy Jones Jr. is a big name. He was a draw. And so the fact that you go, meh, it speaks to the risk of booking names like this for a show like Big Event. It just does.
Well, I wouldn't put myself on Roy Jones. You're more the Roy Jones audience because I wouldn't get a boxer. Period. I got Mike Tyson largely for pop culture and like the Hangover, WWE. I don't care about boxing unless Muhammad Ali came back from the dead. I wouldn't get any more.
I guess. Steel City. Honestly, I'm so happy with the way all this turned out. Truthfully. Steel City added Rebecca Romaine and Juliette Lewis. These are objectively big names, objectively good names, also names neither of us needs at all.
Honestly, it's an awesome lineup. It's just not really anything we need, aside from a couple like, our Jaleel White curse lives on. He's always somewhere we can't be or don't want to be. But, that's life, I guess.
But, the fact that these are their big headliner names at this point and we just don't need them is great. I think it
feels good. Yeah, it feels really good.
Monster Mania added Tuesday night. She's probably one of the lesser big Nightmare on Elm Street names. She doesn't really come around that often, once in a while. So she's probably a good name for them. I got her years ago, and she does pretty well for them. But again, that's a name who's been around.
Yeah, they also booked Emma Lee Cullum from Welcome to Derry. She played young Periwinkle, which I remember it. But, like, nothing here is making me cry that we're missing this show. This is a very, very, very skippable Monster Mania so far. So let's jump in to our main topic. I know I did the plug a little bit early. That's sometimes just how it goes. Let's jump into our main topic, which is New York Comic Con. So there was definitely some significant discussion on the marked out autograph collecting community on Facebook this week about the quality of the New York Comic Con initial lineup. So the past couple of years, New York Comic Con has been running this gimmick where they go, we're not going to make you wait for our lineup. So we're going to drop the first 40 or 50 names or whatever it is right now. And, honestly, I like that practice. Whatever. I have no strong opinion either direction. I don't really care. And I looked at the names and I was reading them and almost instantly, I believe it was Big Chad who started the first kind of domino falling. Was basically this lineup sucks. And I'm not sure. Like my initial reaction was not that it sucks.
the more I think about it and the more that I really analyze it, I do think it sucks. And I think it's really kind of catastrophically disappointing for a New York Comic Con. And then you pushed back pretty hard, but I got to admit, you are a little bit by yourself on that front. I mean, you have a couple of the supporters, but I'm not sensing a lot of support for this lineup. So, I mean, let's talk about, is this a bad lineup we can kind of break it up into segments. Is this a bad lineup, period? Is this a bad lineup for New York Comic Con? And to what extent is New York Comic Con expected to be innovative or special? Okay. So go ahead. You start, because you are the outlier here, I guess.
Well, first of all, I as a totally unnecessary fact for only you and I to really have any need to know about this, but I'm going to throw it out there. This week, for the first time in putting together our outline, I utilized AI to sort of help us organize this outline and not spend hours before the show just putting this whole thing together. So what I did with the AI was I uploaded the graphic from New York Comic Con and asked it to sort of organize the names and give me the titles and all the stuff. And it broke it down really nice. So I'm looking at this here. It's not a bad lineup by any stretch of the imagination. You have Hayden Christensen and Ian McDermott from Star Wars that will draw, for sure. Lena Headey you brought her out here because you bought her from the private signing. We've talked about this now for months. The combo gods kept their word in a sense that we knew it was.
And for people who listen to this show who know that I predicted this months ago because of my own spending, this is an insane thing. You understand that, right? It's insane that I predicted this. It should not have happened this way, but of course it had to.
It's funny. There is no deity. I think you've pointed this out, but there is no deity in the world right now in 2026 that does more to sort of actively show that they are involved in the happenings of the world than the combo gods. These guys they're involved in everything. They really are.
They can't keep their noses out of our business, quite frankly.
And then you have Jamie Campbell Bower. That's what ChatGPT broke down as headliners. You have a Smallville reunion with Tom Welling, Kristen Kruk, Erica Durance, and Michael Rosenbaum. They've sort of done that before. I can't give them too much credit there, but I still need Kristen Kruk. I'm not sure how I haven't gotten her yet, but I didn't. So that's good for me. Scream reunion. I'm very interested to see how they do. Monster Mania can sell out twice a year just off Matt and Skeet. Let's see how they do here. To my knowledge, they've never been at New York Comic Con, or at least not since COVID. If that's half as successful as it is for Monster Mania, that is a big reunion. They have a Jurassic Park reunion. Not the one you wanted, but a realistic one. Wayne Knight, Joe Mazzello, Ariana Richards, B.D. Wong. I need B.D. Wong. Maybe Wayne Knight if I decide to get him on that poster thing, but I don't think I will. Then I have to get B.D. Wong on it. So I think I may just keep it to the main cast. A Muppets reunion. Matt Vogel, Dave Goelz, Bill Beretta, and Bonnie Erickson. Dave Goelz is an original Muppeteer. I didn't know this until yesterday. I plugged in all the Muppets in the ChatGPT and was asking it basically, my ChatGPT algorithm now understands about validity, and I'll ask you, are these people good? And it kind of reasons with me if I should pay to get a photo up or not. It's deranged, but it works. And I mean, and Matt Vogel's the current voice of Kermit and Big Bird. A little less exciting, but I mean, Dave Goelz is big, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then you got some other mixed in people. Peter Weller, Kane Hodder, a little Brooklyn Nine-Nine reunion, which I don't really understand why, with Joe Lo Trulio and Melissa Fumero. A Superman and Lois reunion with Tyler and Bitsy. And then Michael Cudlitz, who basically, I think, sleeps in convention centers. I think he's homeless other than cons. And he just goes con to con to con. It's not a bad lineup. If this was any other con, I mean, you'd be laughed out of the room saying it was a bad lineup. It's a strong lineup, a very strong lineup. I would have to dig up the old one from last year. There was definitely bigger names last year with you had how's her name? Howard. You had
Elliot Page as part of the initial line.
Yeah, you had McAvoy. You had a lot of people. And this is a little lighter, which could mean there's more to come. But I think the mid card is stronger. You have a lot of these little reunions that don't do a hell of a lot for us, but there's a lot of little reunions. I'm going to spend a lot of money at this show, less because I'm splitting everything with Ira, so that's good. But It's not a bad lineup. I do think it's probably not the strongest NYCC one that they've had. The last couple, they've been like hitting moonshots. But I would venture to say, as many names as we have here, there's probably, half of that still to come. A lot of the big names were not here this point last year. We didn't have Sigourney yet. I think it's too soon to really judge it.
I'm not going to disagree with that aspect of it. I do disagree that this is an acceptable lineup for New York Comic Con. There is no universe in which the Kane Hodders of the world appear at New York Comic Con at anything other than a vendor table. He's taking up space in the main autographing hall.
I will say though, Kane Hodder, when he's up in Connecticut, from what I've read, is a 2-3 hour line. I think honestly he may surprise and impress. You don't see many of these horror names at New York Comic Con. I'm curious.
No, I don't care though. I mean, it's really like shocking that they would think that this is they can do better than this. This is not a local regional horror con. It's just not.
But even last year, you had the voices of Phineas and Ferb. Is that more acceptable for New York Comic Con than Kane Hodder?
Absolutely. It was because it's a pop culture show, and the voices of Phineas and Ferb were. I mean, you're talking about a Nickelodeon mainstay, with a movie under their belt. There's like real licensing attached to it. I don't know. It's also innovative. One of the things that's bothering me about this lineup is there's nothing innovative about it at all. And New York Comic Con is where we kind of rely on the industry to be a little innovative, and then the other cons can follow suit. Like, do I really need? Sure, Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich are draws, but Jamie Kennedy and Lee Waddell aren't. And those are just nut hangers for a lame screen reunion. And it's a lame screen reunion because there's not a Nev Campbell. There's also not even, obviously there's no, what the hell is his name? The Dewey.
Arquette.
Yeah.
Let me remind you that last year they announced Annie Potts, and they had a little bit of a Ghostbuster reunion going, and then all of a sudden, someone by the name of Sigourney Weaver was added. Granted, if they add the Nev Campbell, that doesn't help us, but could they somehow surprise us and they all of a sudden announce Nev Campbell and Drew Barrymore? It's possible.
Look, Drew Barrymore, to me, would be a monstrous ad. That's a top tier, like God tier level ad. I mean, and also I think she's not also impossible. Doesn't her talk show film in New York? Am I crazy?
I think it does.
So I mean, that's someone that they could feasibly swing. I mean, I don't know what her desire is on that front. Probably not too much of a desire if she hasn't done it before.
No.
But I mean, and then I would at least say, okay, there's some logic to a Scream reunion if you're able to pull down Drew Barrymore, right?
I think even if they pull down Nev Campbell on a fresh, it hasn't really been done that I can think of in New York. I mean, it's not exciting.
It was 90s Con did it.
It's not exciting for us, but I mean, I think the New York Comic Con audience, I think they would do well on group ops. I think they would, the women are going to show up for Matt and Skeet, and they're going to want all their ops and all this stuff. I don't think innovation should really come before profitability. And if these people are going to sell and be successful, that's what these shows are all about.
See, but when you say profitability, you're not right. Because New York Comic Con doesn't make any money from the autograph table. New York Comic Con makes money from selling tickets. The show sold out before the names were announced. They don't need to use these names to make money this year. These names make them money next year, not this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, these people, the celebrities want to come to this show because it's profitable. And if these guys,
but you can put anyone in that spot almost and have them be profitable. I mean,
Matt and Skeet 100% belong. I think you could perhaps make an argument for Waddell and Jamie Kennedy that they're going to be wasted space. That's an argument. Matt and Skeet belong. I think but then they're also only doing 2 days. They're doing Thursday, Friday, which is strange to me.
And that tells you exactly what their value is in this environment. To me,
yeah. The Jurassic Park reunion you caused. Much like the combo god spiting you with Lena, you've been yelling for this reunion, and they gave it to you. It's just not the one you wanted.
Nothing ever is.
Yeah, But I mean, you probably need B. I mean, you will get BD like me, and you probably need Wayne Knight on your print, right? You're gonna get him on the poster.
I do need him on the poster. Yeah, I need them both on the poster.
Yeah. The Muppets, I imagine they're voice actors, and you don't care that he had his hand up Gonzo's ass for the last 40 years. That doesn't do anything.
No, it means it actually does less than nothing for me. I don't care at all.
And the rest of the list, sure, it's filler. It's not going to really do much for anybody. Although I may get
Smallville's been done a million shows. I love how you say Kristen Kruk is good for you. She's doing the Fan Expo shows we're going to. There's no reason to wait until NYCC.
Because Ira is splitting it with me. I'll save $50. You split nothing, and you don't even want her, so it wouldn't help me at all. So if I do it on my own, I'm paying premium.
Terrible guest. I mean, you watched Smallville?
I watched Beauty and the Beast.
Really?
I did, start to finish.
You got to be careful the things you say out loud on this show. I swear to God.
I am proud of my watch history of television.
So it's such a strange thing to me, but
I guess all shows can't be as good as Kids in the Hall.
It's damn true. Nothing is as good as Kids in the Hall. That one I'll defend all day long. But anyway, the headline, we haven't even talked about the headliners, and I think that speaks to exactly their value. Hayden has been on his back doing cons the entire year. McDermott's been doing cons consistently. There's no, I mean, will they draw? Yes. Is there any kind of innovation here? No. It's a huge, I get it. I get why they book Hayden. Hayden's doing, you can travel to any fan expo in the country and get Hayden or, whatever. I don't understand why NYCC is anchoring him or anchoring their guest list around him when he is just not special in any way. And did the damn show not that long ago. He did the show in 2022.
On my selfish level, if we're using ChatGPT as the sorting of this thing, there are 4 headliners, as I said before. I'm getting all 4. I need Hayden. Didn't get him. I did not go to that post-COVID con. Palpatine, I just laughed at you going nuts in the line. I didn't get him. Lena's big. And Jamie Campbell Bauer, if he doesn't cancel, I need. So I mean, yeah.
For what?
I'm still collecting Stranger Things for the the Sweeney Todd, and he's on the rise. It seems.
I'll get Bauer for Sweeney Todd. I've discussed that in the past. Lena, I'll get the photo op. I do not need the autograph, of course, because of.
And he's also in Harry Potter. That's right. Jamie Campbell Bauer was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, but a meaningless role. McDermott, I never got the photo op because I was so disgusted at Comic-Con that time. I never got it.
You got to finish the story.
I do. That one I do. Hayden, I also never got the photo op either. You know that?
Yes. So you need... See, listen, a lot of your complaints with this lineup, you were really exerting Greg 2600 energy of, well, I don't need these people. It's like you go all over the place. Of course you don't need these people. Like that doesn't mean it's a bad lineup objectively.
No, it's a bad lineup for New York Comic-Con. It's totally fine if it was Fan Expo. I wouldn't bat an eye. New York Comic-Con. I mean, we were so psyched for what are they going to do? Who are they going to bring in this time? You were giving whole speeches about what are they going to do this time compared to last year. They've been hitting home runs. This is not a home run by any explanation. This is not a home run. It's just not. Do you think shows, New York Comic Con and perhaps other ones as well, are they relying too heavily on reunions? Are they putting names? Like, is booking a Lee Waddell because it's a Scream reunion? Are these group ops and reunions? Is this a draw today in 2026? Or are these reunions just a way to sort of put wrapping paper on a shitty gift? This is absolutely not a draw. Nothing here is going to sell them tickets. Hayden Christensen will sell them tickets with the casuals for next year. No one else on this list sells any tickets at all. They just don't. I think Comic-Con. Look, I predicted this. Go back a couple weeks. I said I am very afraid that New York Comic-Con is going to start realizing again they don't really have to book good guests. It doesn't matter. They'll sell out anyway. These morons like us will buy entrants regardless of who they book. And so they can get away with being cheap, and that's what this is. These are easy to get guests. They're not doing anything crazy to get these guests. That's very clear what we're seeing here. This is not like them putting themselves out in any way to get this lineup. I think it's extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing.
I think ultimately we have to wait and see.
Sure, of course I'll wait and see, and if they book something good, I'll be the first one to say it. We're at this stage. I'm looking at this show, going, this sucks. It's a sucky first volley. If I'm them, I'm holding names like. Clearly they didn't do it, but I would, if they were smart, they would hold names like Kane Hodder back. Trickle those out at the end. Why have a name like that as part of your initial release that's going to be getting media? I don't get it. It's a poor decision.
Well, he was nestled deep on the sheet. I think largely they just put out who they have locked in. I don't think it's always entirely, calculated.
You don't think there's some kayfabe of the list at all?
I don't know. I don't. Because I think, granted, as you said, this is a little different where they don't have to sell tickets on these names. Like, they don't really have to, play that game like other shows do. If you announce something too soon and it cancels, if anything, it hurts you because it could make someone, nervous and skeptical to buy next year. I hear that. But we'll see. I know I have my list is pretty deep. And you're saying, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like, is it last year's show to start? Probably not. But, you're getting a few too many to me to call it bad. If you're going to spend $1,000
as many
on a bad lineup.
I'm getting a couple of ops. I'm getting,
you got 4 ops up top. All the
I don't know. I don't know because I passed on the Hayden op last time. Jamie Campbell-Bower, I guess I'll get. Lean, I'll get. I'm sure I'll get the 4 on top. Underneath,
couple graphs for Jurassic Park and a BD combo.
Yeah, that's it. That is it.
I guess since you make it 4 days, I guess that's a little. This isn't my Fanatics lineup that I'm using for 4 days. That's for sure.
Hell no. So I just think it's bad. I think it's bad. I think it's. I see a lineup like this as disrespectful to the fact that they sold out of their show in advance. They don't have to put in the effort. Now I may be carrying on about nothing, and they might completely blow me away with names that come out in a few weeks or months. But they haven't always done that. That is definitely a hit or miss kind of deal. And last year I was pissed last year when Nicholas Hoult canceled, right? And they wound up announcing Sigourney right after that. So I was like, all right, fine. What?
Let's keep in mind Fishburne was also added late. There was a lot of firepower coming late. I don't think they're regressing and saying, "Oh, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that." I just think it comes down to like anything else. I would imagine they knock on the same types of doors. I think there's a lot of things about last year's lineup that just worked selectively for us. Bryce Dallas Howard was a lot of places. I just hadn't seen her.
I didn't get her. I didn't give one. I didn't give anything. I didn't care at all about Bryce Dallas Howard.
That's a name I cared about. I think a lot of this. It just so happened they were hitting our marks better last year. But I don't really know if it was that much more innovative. In ways, yes. And when the lineup is done.
Come on. Elliot Page and Larry Fishburne and who else was last year? Now I'm like, and Sigourney hadn't done anything in years. Like,
you're naming 2 people that we wouldn't have been able to talk about today a year from now.
McAvoy?
He's innovative. He's done a lot of these things, hasn't he?
A lot? How many times have you been at a show with him?
None.
How many times have you been at a show with Skeet or Matt?
Well, you're 10 times? You're going headline to middle of the road.
So, headline to headline. How many times have I been at a show with Hayden? 2?
How many times have you been at a show with Lena?
She hasn't done one yet.
Exactly.
So
Boom.
All right. So that's exactly. That's the one innovative name. McDermott's not a bunch.
What show has Jamie Campbell-Bower been at lately that we've been at? I haven't seen him.
He just has been doing a run though. He's just started his big run. We haven't been there yet, but he has done them this year. He's part of the circuit this year.
And here, I guess I don't know. I think innovation is not everything. If there's people that haven't been in these areas, like there's 4 names here, I don't have any of them. So to me, that's a hit. Is it as good as last year? Were they more exciting names, top to bottom? The top 4, probably. But the world doesn't revolve around me and my needs. So perhaps other people are just as, although a lot of people seem pretty upset. But I think other people aren't too happy. People weren't happy with last year's either. We were kind of alone on this ledge, yelling it's the greatest lineup ever.
Sigourney was praised across the board.
Again, that was added in like late August. So I mean, you take her out, take Fishburne out. Greg 2600 was complaining the entire time. He didn't like any of that lineup. There were a lot of Class 316 didn't like last year's lineup. I got McAvoy on a set in 2009. Like, for these people that you do all this stuff, I think we were just very excited last year. I don't know if the tone overall was like amazing.
No, I think it was. I think you're kind of conflating two different things. There are the people who complain because they got stuff on the street, and then there are the innovative con names who just haven't done cons, and those are different things. That you couldn't say that Sigourney Weaver wasn't innovative. She'd only done a very tiny handful of cons before that.
No, she was for sure. I think the Muppets are innovative. I think the Muppets are innovative.
I don't think anyone's clamoring for the Muppets. I don't know. The voice actors. I mean, I guess that's me. I don't think the Muppets are going to draw anything. But that's my. I do have a bias there also, in that the whole voice actor thing just doesn't make any sense to me. But I recognize that is me to some extent too. And my bias against voice actors. I don't know if it's bias or just I have no interest in them.
But the last question we have on this outline for this topic is: are you holding out hope? Do you think are you going to get excited and really expect Drew to the Scream or Neil and Dern and Goldblum to Jurassic Park? Like, do you think these reunions are going to end up getting what you want? Or are you just hoping for completely different hits that you get excited for?
I don't think we're going to get what I want. I'm not too excited about that. I think if they had Dern or Neil or Goldblum for Jurassic Park, they would have announced them with this reunion. The Jurassic Park reunion was buried down below.
I guess we'll see in part if they start selling the group op right away. When they don't put group ops up for sale on when the on sale starts, that's something.
Yeah, that's usually a little bit of a wink, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. I agree. I think these reunions, they're looking at a way to sort of bring context to the undercard, which I respect. I think Wayne Knight's going to do really well in New York. The Seinfeld audience, he's going to be a hit. The Kids somewhat will be a hit. I think the Jurassic Park reunion's solid. It's just the same way I was complaining about going to Steel City for the kids without the main adults that matter. It's not.
Well, it's like I think for Jurassic Park they could entice the lawyer to come out. He'll sign through the mail. They could entice him to come out. They didn't.
Would that be any better than Lee Waddell though? You're bringing in a lawyer.
No. But if you're doing Jurassic Park is a pretty innovative reunion because they've only one other show has had the Kids, Beatty, and Wayne Knight. Period. Ever.
And you're not doing the group up?
I might, but it's hard because they don't look anything like whatever. But if they had the lawyer, the problem is there's no one really who else they could bring from Jurassic Park because you got Sam Jackson is they're not even if they brought him out, which there's always a possibility he comes out, but they're certainly not going to bill him as Jurassic Park because that's just a minor role of his, But what's his face? I can't think of it. His brother is the famous documentary narrator. He played Dr. Hammond. The old guy, he's dead.
Oh, I don't know his name. I know what you're
talking about. His brother's the narrator for Discovery Channel. This is so annoying. Anyway, the old guy's dead. The guy who said
Richard Attenborough.
Attenborough, yeah. The guy who was the raptor hunter, he's dead. So those are your other two characters beyond Sam Jackson and the three bigs. There's not a lot of characters in that movie. So then you have the lawyer, and then you have the guy at the beginning, Juanito at the beginning, and then you also have the guy who Watson, who sells Wayne Knight the gives him the can of shaving cream. Beyond that, there's just not too many actors in that movie. So if they got the lawyer out and the three bigs, then the movie's done. So I would love something because Jurassic Park is it for me, and That and Terminator 2. So when I see BD Wong and Wayne Knight come out, I'm like, all right, maybe this is my chance. If it doesn't happen this year, it's not happening ever, because they're not gonna. It's not gonna put it again.
I mean, to be fair though, you could bring those three out with no one else, and it wouldn't even matter. Like, they don't need BD Wong for that photo op.
No, I know. And BD's a pain in the ass. I mean, he's local, but he doesn't come out that much.
I wouldn't give up hope entirely, but I mean, I think this is really the year. If it doesn't come together right now, I don't know. So,
I agree. All right, listener questions.
Let's rock.
All right, so this one's coming from Kevin. Do different types of celebrities, like actors, musicians, athletes, wrestlers, etc., have different etiquette with regard to their expectations? Which are generally the toughest? So I think he's referring to street graphing.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So, I mean, you're probably better equipped to tackle this one. So what do you think?
I mean, obviously the A-listers they move like presidents often with huge security details. So that's always difficult. But just for sake of a more interesting answer, rappers on the street are typically a little challenging because they travel with like entourages and security teams, but the security teams are oftentimes just entourages, where like these guys, at least back in the day when rappers lived a little differently, their existence, a lot of the people they travel with, their role is to just hold the weapons and the drugs, and if they get raided by police, they take the fall. That's sort of what a lot of these people are. And I remember the day I got Mel Gibson at Sirius. Greg, it was Wong as well. I don't know how the hell Wong ended up joining us. He wasn't at Mel Gibson, but I was with Wong. Was it the Tom Hanks day? I don't remember which day it was. It must have been the Tom Hanks day. That would explain why Wong was there. But in any case, I saw a large group of men wearing like the snowman t-shirts. And for people that are aware, Young Jeezy, that's like Young Jeezy's entire thing, was that he was a snowman because he was a coke dealer. And I remember I approached, typically I would have tried to like linger and lurk and whatnot. He was up in a restaurant. They were waiting outside the restaurant. It was like 7 or 8 guys. And I started talking to the guys. Because with something like that, you could get stomped out, you could get shot. Like, you can't just run up on these people like that, these rappers. And the guy went upstairs and asked, and not even like a Larry kind of way, he actually, I believe, did, and went upstairs and like asked, because he was getting ready to come down, and he like approved it, that he would take a photo, but he doesn't apparently take selfies with men. So that's how Wong ended up in this. So I ran over to get Wong, who was just standing over there, to be my shooter. And I think he got it as well. But the guy's like, yeah, he don't take selfies with dudes. You got to have someone take it. And I mean, you would never have that with a wrestler. You would never have that even with an actor. No. It's a lot different.
That's like very bizarre.
Yeah, that's how Gio got like stomped out by the Migos entourage. He ran up on I think Cardi might have been with them as well. And he ran up on like Offset and Quavo, and he was laid out, like knocked out cold. I think he sued. But I mean, when I go out graphing, I kind of don't want to have to retain a lawyer afterwards. I don't want to have to pick up my teeth off the sidewalk. I would like to avoid that. So rappers on the street, you got to approach a different way.
I mean, in terms of this list, wrestlers are probably the easiest. Also, wrestlers get approached probably at the airport and the hotel more than any of these people, because the wrestling, like the group of people who follow them, are very, 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 very like religious, as far as I don't mean religious, but like in terms of they're very regimented. They go to every hotel, they go to every airport, they go to all of them.
And let's also be fair, they stay in shittier hotels that you're actually able to like get into, but by buying a room or by just being inside, like that whole like, ooh, I'm gonna get a room in Harrison Ford's hotel and just sit in the lobby, like that you don't see done. Like, I'm not sure if it's like the price keeps people from doing it, or just the lobby in general with the type of security they would have for people of that level of affluence, if that just wouldn't fly. I don't know.
I would say musicians are probably the most, like, it's the strangest and the most varied and diverse, and that some are just incredibly accessible and easy and have been forever, and others are just weird and difficult and standoffish, and there's not, and there is some weird etiquette where like Some of them will sign, say, vinyls or CDs all day long, but won't sign 8x10s at all. They get mad, right? Or there's all kinds of different weird rules with some musicians, and other ones don't care even a little. So funny thing is about athletes, right? You sent me that video where I guess you forgot to put it on the outline of those NBA draft picks, right?
Yeah,
where all they came off the bus to a couple. It wasn't a tremendous number of fans, maybe 10 to 15 fans waiting outside the bus, and they just only one guy stopped. Everyone else like aggressively was hostile about blanking, and it's like, what is that all about? You know?
Well, to be fair, these guys are probably the same ones they've seen for the entire week. The NBA draft it's an entire week in NYC where these people come in and you wait for them for the check-ins and you get them walking around. And I mean, you'll see these same scrappers chasing you the entire damn time. So maybe they've done enough, they feel, for them over the course of the week, and this was not the time they were going to do more. I don't know. But all the key ones were not stopping. Peterson didn't stop. Boozer didn't stop. AJ didn't stop. The top like three guys that I was seeing were not. And that's why a lot of it's, athletes are tough. They really are. You'll see baseball players in like the minors. Ask Chris Collector. He does a lot of that out in PA. And these guys, these top prospects, are not always easy, ever.
So I hope that answered the question. Leo Dean, has a rude autograph or photo experience ever made you stop being a fan of someone? So this is a hard question for me because being a fan of someone is like a weird way of looking at it. I'm not sure there's anyone. I'm like a fan of that person. I don't know. It's hard. I'm going to go ahead and say no. I mean, I haven't had too many rude things. I mean, some people were just like not particularly nice at cons. I don't really care. Like CM Punk is not nice at cons. Who else? I think a couple people like Tom Savini was not particular. I wasn't like a drooling fanboy of Tom Savini anyway. Yeah, overall, the only one, the weirdest we were ever treated in public, I guess, was either by Darren Criss or Sean William Scott. And like, I wasn't a mega fan of either one. And I was joking last week that like Darren Criss is a jerk, but I mean, he is. That doesn't mean if he was in a movie that I liked, I wouldn't watch it. I don't care like that much. And Sean William Scott, I mean, I still love Stifler and American Pie, so it doesn't matter to me. I don't really care. Do you care?
No, because the idea of being a fan of someone, like on a personal level, as I've said, I don't want experience. It doesn't mean anything to me. Really, like if I have a great experience, that's cool. Like there's certain experiences I have that I'll, if some family member asks me like, oh, what was the coolest person? There's certain stories I have in my head that I'll pull out that I like and I think fondly of. But like I don't care. And then also I don't I don't care. Like, for example, P. Diddy can beat women and rape people and drug people. And like, I don't care. I will want to meet him if I have the opportunity because he's done things in pop culture and in music that I like. I don't care. R. Kelly, same way. Let R. Kelly come out of prison. I'll be lined up to meet him. I don't only meet good people. I'm not only a fan of good people. I don't care. You could think of Stalin could come back from the dead and star in a movie I like, and I'll meet him because he's in a movie I like. I don't care. So I don't have like morals like that where it's like, oh, that's a bad person, I'm not going to support them on principle. I have no principle. I will be open with that. I have none. So yeah, I don't. Like, the only thing I can even think of to answer the question in the reverse would be, I feel like my fandom of Terrifier has cooled off a little bit since that fateful experience with Oaks and waiting for that autograph and getting nothing. And I'm not mad at David Howard Thornton. It was just the kind of thing where I liked it enough to invest the time and money I invested into it. You would go, the new movie would come out, you'd spend maybe 40 minutes on the line, you get your new stuff signed, you move on with your life. If it's now like a Robert Englund situation where you can spend the entire day and get nothing, like I don't like it that much to do that. I don't care. Like I would be very happy never buying another thing to get signed from him because the time investment and the risk. I don't want to risk and gamble when I'm at a paid appearance. I don't. If I can't, if he would he doesn't frequent shows that you could use VIP passes, really, except for unless you have one of those really expensive ones you can't skip or anything. So that would be the closest thing. And it wasn't even about rudeness, just a shitty experience I wouldn't really want to repeat.
Right. And then finally from Jeremy, can you discuss the tension between graphers? What is it? Why does it happen? And how do you handle it? So, I mean, this is, again, not something I really experience too often. You have probably more than I have, but even you haven't that much.
I'm bothered by certain things. I like there's people like I'll engage in internet like Facebook like back and forth longer than I should. I'm guilty of wanting the last word. Stuff like that bothers me, but like I genuinely see street graphers as special needs children. And like I don't get that bent out of shape with the actions of special needs children because it's sort of it's out of their hands as far as like choosing to do things. This is how they are, and I'm not going to fight with people that are not normal or right in the head on the street that are going for autographs because I don't think they're choosing to do this. And I always believe in that saying that don't argue with fools because from a distance people can't tell who is who. I don't get, I don't care. People can say and do things and I'll just ignore them. And that's my style in those environments. But you also have a lot of people in the hobby that have different conditions and things. And I mean, I guess scrutiny or being offended or being insulted is very triggering and upsetting, and they perseverate on it. And that's something that I don't do. Luckily, the things I perseverate on are not like street conflict. So I don't really have that problem, luckily.
All right. So that's that. So once again, if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Once again, join us on the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. That's where all the fun happens as we round the corner on. We're marching towards 10,000 users, hopefully by the end of this summer. And if you have any comments or questions, or you want to reach out to us in any way, you can at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. So what's coming up for us? I mean, you have a lot more than I do, but looking at this list, I have a bunch of things too.
Yeah, Fanatics Fest, all 4 days. I would be lying if I said I was excited about all 4 days, but I mean, I'm getting like 20-something photo ops. I really couldn't do it in one day regardless. But I will be miserable by Saturday, having to keep making this trip, and it's going to be annoying. But it's probably the greatest assortment of talent I've gotten at a single show. It's also the greatest tab I'm racking up at a single show. But I will be there.
Then we're heading over to Chicago in August for Chicago Fan Expo. Do you think T makes this show?
He better. And I'll tell you what, I still got to book the hotel. I'm going to do that this weekend.
Yeah, what are you waiting for exactly? Are you trying to like give me a heart attack on this? What's going on?
You gotta roll more like me, man. It'll
Why?
Work out.
Why? What is the impediment to doing it?
Well, I looked at certain ones. I don't like having to pay in advance. I was going to do the pay when you get there, and a lot of the ones I was looking at didn't have that. And then I got sidetracked. So I have to look deeper and see what's the best hotel.
Yeah, you got to figure that out ASAP because I don't want to pay extra money or have a booking that's not available. Please, for the love of all that is God, all that is holy, get that taken care of because I don't want to run into a situation. That would not be great. And we have Dallas.
Is that booked yet?
No, Dallas isn't booked yet. I haven't touched Dallas yet. Do I have to carry all these payments and just wait? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I figured.
We haven't even done the logistics for Dallas yet. So
I'm gonna do the hotel for Chicago, and then we really should. I mean, these flights can change, no? Like the pricing can go up. Like we probably should try to lock this in. Yeah.
Did I do Dallas? Now I'm wondering if I did it or not. I gotta look. I don't think I did, but I have to look nonetheless. And then of course we have Keanu Reeves and Simple Plan in August, and then you have Chance the Rapper as well. I think that's it.
It's it, and we're comfortably under 2 hours, which makes me kind of happy.
I know. This is the sweet spot where I want to be.
Yeah.
So pretty good. So in this week, we have nothing really coming up this week. Right? You're nothing. None of your stuff is this week.
As of now, no, but I mean, anything can change, but I don't think so.
That's how it goes. All right. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and of course, Marked Out Radio, I'm Shawn.
And I'm Dana.
And happy summer. We'll see you next week.